that had put down intellectual roots in that city. Within a year, American colonial soldiers were at war with British troops, and Thomas Paine became the most persuasive advocate for independence. His pamphlet, Common Sense, set forth a devastating argument for separation from Great Britain and the founding of a new nation on the American continent. There was no such thing as a bestseller or a media blitz in 1776, but Common Sense had the impact of both. 500,000 copies were printed, enormous when you consider that the population of the colonies was fewer than 4 million at the time. These pamphlets were passed from hand to hand and read aloud at meetings and rallies. The popular sentiment galvanized by Paine's words made the Declaration of Independence, which came a mere 6 months later, not only possible, but inevitable. What was the magic of Paine's prose? If we read Common Sense today, we are struck by its careful logic, its clarity, and its engaging style. But to understand its effect, we must realize that it carried the power of a vision. He examined the subject, the Revolutionary War, in a revolutionary way. The military action begun in the spring of 1775 was a protest against British economic policies, but Paine saw something much larger. The cause of America, he wrote, is in great measure the cause of all mankind. We have it in our power to begin the world over again. What a powerful insight. With those words, he took the American cause from the remote edges of the British Empire to center stage of world history. He told his adopted country, in effect, your struggle isn't just about taxes or the price of tea, it's about a whole new idea. We are part of a unique moment in history. We must not fail to make the most of it. It's a powerful story because only this week we have seen it repeated in South Africa. And it wasn't Paine, it was Mandela. Among the architects of the American Republic, there were far greater men than Paine. We don't rank him today with Jefferson, Washington, Hamilton, Adams, Madison, and the other fathers of the Revolution and the land. So with the hindsight of history, we might conclude that he was fortunate to have had the opportunity to articulate for a brief moment in time the argument for a great cause. But isn't there another possibility? It was fortunate for our country that Paine, an ordinary man with special talents, was there to seize the moment, to crystallize the idea, and to make the great dream coherent for the men and women who would have to fight even to give their lives for it. If he had not understood the vision and acted decisively, would the founders have been able to mobilize the support they needed to work their wonders? Let's take the question one step further. How many other great opportunities in history have passed unnoticed because no one recognized them, or because no one possessed the courage or the skill to take action or to become a spokesman? What triumphs might have been achieved and catastrophes averted if the right man or woman had been there to step forward, to speak the words or perform the deeds that would make the difference? Obviously, playing this game of what if can produce more frustration than results. We cannot control history, and we cannot foresee events, but we can prepare. And we do this most effectively through education. We can assure that each generation shares our common culture, understands the triumphs and tragedies of history, grasps the principles of science and nature, possesses the skills to work productively, and lives by the ethical and moral standards that make our very civilization possible. We cannot fortify every individual against every possibility, but we can prepare our nation and our world to meet every challenge and make the most of every opportunity. The creation of a government founded on liberty and equality was the first great act of a great nation. And those words of Paine are echoing through the corridors of time over 200 years later. The people who achieved this wonderful event while settling a huge continent were pioneers in every sense of the word. They moved into unknown territory, creating as they went. The progress was seldom easy, and it did not come without mistakes or moral dilemmas. Our bloodiest war was surely the one we fought against ourselves. And we have yet to resolve all the legacies of that time in our history, of slavery and of subjugation of our native peoples. Our national impulses have not always been so noble as we would like. And yet, this is a nation in which goodwill predominates. If we focus too closely on the daily news, we find all too many examples of cruelty, of greed, and of injustice. And yet the American spirit is one that remains predominantly generous and optimistic. We believe in the promise of tomorrow. And that is why so much of our lives centers around the education of our young people. The young men and women who will receive degrees in just a few minutes, too, will face an uncertain future. But I have no fear for them. The challenges they will encounter will bring out their best. The history of this nation is a history of pioneering. In the beginning, we tamed the wilderness and settled the continent, but the frontiers crossed were not always defined in geographical terms. In Thomas Paine's day, some of those frontiers were political as well as moral. Later, they would involve the building of industry, the development of a great agricultural system, the advancement of global transportation and communications, and confrontation with foreign powers. It was exactly 125 years ago that a group of pioneers established Purdue University. They too were energized by a new vision, a vision that said that education could become a partner with economic progress. You graduates tonight are the children of that vision, and you are the new pioneers. None of us can predict what frontiers you will cross in the decades ahead, but we can be confident this evening that you are splendidly prepared. Undreamed of possibilities lie ahead for your generation and the ones to follow. You have the collective energy, the optimism, and the education to make those possibilities realities. And among you, there are a few who will find the right moment to say, we have it in our power to begin the world again. On behalf of the trustees, faculty, and administration of Purdue, I am pleased to recognize you as the new pioneers, the class of 1994. Thank you. The audience is now invited to join the Purdue Varsity Glee Club in singing our new alma mater, the Purdue Hymn. The words are located inside the front cover of the program and will be projected on the screens. Will you please stand? It is appropriate at this time that we give special recognition to those graduates who have demonstrated outstanding scholastic achievement. In your programs on page 33, you will find an explanation of the criteria for awarding the designation Distinction and Highest Distinction. I now invite those candidates for baccalaureate degrees who have earned the honor highest distinction to stand and remain standing. And will those candidates who have earned the honor of distinction please stand as well. On behalf of the trustees and the faculty of our university, I congratulate each of you on the remarkable record you have attained. May you be motivated to continue to perform at the same high level in all of your life's activities. Let us congratulate these students. Please be seated.
Mr. President, candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts from the School of Education will be presented by the Dean of the School of Education, Dr. Marilyn J. Herring.
Will the candidates from the School of Education please stand and remain standing? Mr. President, these students have successfully fulfilled the requirements of one of the undergraduate curricula of the School of Education. With the approval of the faculty, they are now presented to you to receive the appropriate baccalaureate degree.
Thank you, Dean Herring.
President Beering, candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Physical Education, and Bachelor of Science from the School of Liberal Arts, and Bachelor of Science from the School of Liberal Arts and the School of Management will be presented by the Dean of the School of Liberal Arts, Dr. David A. Caputo.
Will the candidates from the School of Liberal Arts please stand and remain standing? Mr. President, these students have successfully fulfilled the requirements of one of the undergraduate curricula in the School of Liberal Arts. With the approval of the faculty, they are now presented to you to receive the appropriate baccalaureate degree.
Thank you, Dean Caputo. Exercising the authority of the trustees of Purdue University, legally vested by the people of the state of Indiana, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I now confer upon each of you who have fulfilled the requisite requirements the appropriate baccalaureate degree with all the rights, privileges, duties, and responsibilities of that degree. As evidence of your achievement, you will now receive an appropriately inscribed diploma. Please be seated. I now invite the marshals to escort our new graduates forward so you may receive your diplomas from your dean.